Catch, release, wonder. I'm taking over your video, my man.
Yeah, that's cool.
Taking it over. While Seth is in the background, I'm going to talk to all you guys. His shop is looking super fine. He has these, all of his own pictures in the background that he has put up on canvas prints. It is worth your time stopping in his shop and seeing what fly fishing's like in the Upper Peninsula. All right, let's roll.
What's up, guys? This is Seth from Dark Waters Fly Shop. Thanks for watching this video. This is what we're doing today. Is last year, if you followed the channel, we did a year-end review of the first year on the books guiding, and this year we're doing the same thing, except it's year 2. We've both guided for more years than that, but not really officially and not for pay. We did off record, kind of off the books for a little while, just to see if it was something we really wanted to go with. Obviously, it's working out. We're still doing it. We still love it. But as many of you I know are always curious about the life of fly fishing guides and fishing guides for that matter, and kind of the ins and outs of what we do and what it takes to do what we do. We're here to answer questions. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comments because we'll definitely do this again. But yeah, so this is Benjamin Haight from Hate's Wanderings. He has a YouTube channel as well. I'm going to put a link in the description to his video so that when this video uploads, we actually already did his segment where I asked him questions about his year. He told me some stories. We're going to show video clips to do all this cool stuff. First things first, though, before I get into this video, I have something for him.
Ooh, spicy. I like the way this is going down.
Yep.
Oh, I think I know what this is.
Here we go. So
I think I know what this is.
This is a special. This is a Nate Carnes shirt that he did with the musky pig on the back. Hopefully that's not overexposed in my camera there, but that's it. And then it also has the new Dark Waters Fly Shop logo, which is all of the different fish skins in the logo.
I like it.
There you go, buddy. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
I would put it on right now, but my man bun would get destroyed, and I just
can't do that. I can't
destroy the man bun.
Cannot destroy the man bun.
But this is a pig of a muskie. I love it.
Yeah.
Right on, dude.
Other than that, man, what do you want to know?
Well, I guess I got to jump in on what he's saying. Guiding is a social event. I mean, if that makes sense. It's not just catching fish. A lot of people think it's just catching fish, but being a guide is being able to relate and connect with people, and people usually that you don't know. You're meeting somebody that's for the first time, unless they're a repeat client, and you're getting to know them as a person while you're on the water with them. And what better place than on the water to get to know somebody?
In the UP.
Yeah.
When you're not running into other people, and there's not, at first when you said social, I was kind of like, oh, it's not really social because you're out there and you're secluded. But between a guide, a relationship between a guide and the guest, that they're coming and you're with each other all day out in the woods, on the water, and you're teaching each other things, and you're talking and you're coaching and you're doing all that stuff. So yeah, absolutely, it's a ball. And anyways, that's totally it, man. Right on. Well. Yeah. What do you want to know? What do you got?
Well, I kind of want to know. Let's see. So we were talking about that aspect of getting to know people. So let's kind of keep going down that avenue. Not a repeat client, but it's somebody that was a first-time client this year for you. What was an experience that you had out there? What was something that was special or remarkable?
Neil.
Something.
It's a guy named Neil.
Okay, tell me about Neil.
He was from New Orleans.
Okay.
And he came up.
Lots of brook trout in New Orleans, I'm pretty sure.
And he came up. He was gonna drop his dogs off. Likes to bird hunt. He was gonna drop his bird dogs off to get trained, and then was gonna spend some days up here. And he wanted to fish. And he was a good fly fisherman. It wasn't like somebody that casts and you're just like, oh, this guy's just like perfect. It wasn't one of those. Just average fisherman that came. But had a heart of gold, and during the trips, he booked a couple days, and the first day we went for some brook trout, and then he kind of heard me talking about the nighttime brown trout gig, and something really special happened, and it doesn't always happen like this, and it might take a minute for me to tell the story, but it was really cool. So the first day he caught some brook trout. He was really happy. He had a lot of fun. Second day he wanted to go out. We did a half day for brook trout in the morning, and then we stopped and we regrouped in the evening to go out and catch some browns on a Hendrickson hatch, and or March browns is what it was. It happens right after the Hendricksons, and so. For this section of river that we're fishing, it's a really, really shallow run. And most of you that trout fish, I guarantee you would look at this run and you would say, you're going to catch a...
Not going to hold fish, right?
23, 22-inch brown in this water. And I'm going to be like, yeah. And you're like, there's no way. Like, you're like, I'm paying for this? What are you doing? I told him before we went, I said, look, this is what's going to happen. We're going to go. We're going to hike into this spot. We're going to sit and we're going to wait. And this is fish hunting. This isn't fishing. This is like deer hunting. We're going to sit in the weeds on the shoreline and we're going to wait for these fish to come up and position themselves. We're going to wait for the bugs to do what they're going to do. We're going to wait for it to get dark, and then we're going to go after one fish. And some people, they're like, I got to be moving. I got to be casting. I got to be catching, and so, but he got it. He totally got it. And this is why. We get there. And I told him, I said, you see, he goes, this is really shallow. Are you sure fish are going to come up here? It's like a foot to 2 feet deep of just sand and muck. And I'm like, yeah, it is going to happen. I said, there's a deep pool downstream and there's a deep pool upstream. And what happens is those big browns, they sit in that deeper, colder water during the day. But because the current speed is faster on the top of the water and slower on the bottom water, if a brown trout comes all the way to the top of the surface to feed, one, it's got to cross all that distance. And if it wants to stay at the top of the water column, it's got to swim faster and exert all this energy when it's eating little tiny bugs. So what they'll do is they'll come into an area where it's shallow, where they can just sit and hug tight to the bottom, and then all they got to do is lift their head up to eat. And they'll just sit there and gorge all night long. But they don't hold in that water. And so what happens is, I said, what's going to happen is as it gets dark, watch the dragonflies. And he's like, why do I watch the dragonflies? I said, because they're chasing those other bugs that are out there, those mayflies that we're going after. Last night there was a hatch. The night before that there was a hatch, and they went up into all the trees back there, those maple trees. He goes, yeah. I said, so at one point, you see how these dragonflies are kind of just flying around like this? He said, yeah. I said, at one point it's going to be like somebody flips a switch. They're just going to all go up into the trees. You're not going to see them anymore. Right before that happens, though, you're going to start seeing these big V's in the water where these big browns are coming in and getting into position because they know what's happening. So we're sitting there, and we're kind of talking, and he was telling me about life after the storm. And I was like, wait, are you talking about like Hurricane Katrina? And he was like, yeah. He was like, and his response, like I said, you said the storm. I said, are you talking about Katrina? And he goes, there was only one storm.
Jeez.
And I was like, whoa, like this guy's serious. So we see these V's start coming in. He's like, whoa, there they are. And I'm like, yeah, man, it's happening. And then he's like, the dragonflies are gone. And I'm like, yeah, dude, the dragonflies are gone. And so then I said, wait, because you're gonna, if you look really close, you're gonna see all of a sudden there's gonna be this swarm that comes out, and if you can't see the swarm of mayflies, you're gonna see the dragonflies come right over the top of the river. All of a sudden he's like, dude, the dragonflies are there, and these swarms of mayflies are like doing their dance over the river, and then it started a conveyor belt upstream, and then the spinner fall started happening, and you started hearing gulp, gulp, and these big browns were coming out. I don't even have a video of this to show you, by the way. We've been showing videos, but I don't even have video of this. I just storytelling right now. And what happened was, and this is my favorite part of this year, was he kind of had like this hand-carved walking stick, and he was just sitting there, and I think Neil was, I don't know, in his late 60s probably, and mid-60s. And he's sitting there, and we were getting up to go cast for one of these fish. We were identifying which one was the big riser and everything. And before we get up, I'm kind of getting ready, and he goes, Seth. And I turn around and I look at him, and it's getting dark, like I can hardly see him. And he just goes, we're doing it, man.
We're doing it, man.
We're doing it. And I was like, this guy gets it.
Yeah.
This guy gets it.
Stalking the fish. It's not really fishing for. It's like it's the hunt. It's the process.
And
it's the entire thing.
For me, and this might be the difference between your average fisherman and a guide, somebody that's on the water all the time. For me, if I was personally fishing, I could have got through like 4 of those 5 steps, and then a rainstorm could have come or something could have come and just shut it down, right? And like at that point, like I don't even care because I just saw all this stuff happen. It was out of my control. Now, if I'm guiding, I obviously want all the conditions to be right for clients, but that was it. Like he got it. He caught the fish. He got a big fish. It was awesome.
Do you have a picture?
Somewhere. I'll try to find it and upload it.
I'd love to see a picture of this one.
But it was just it didn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, I almost don't even want to show you the picture because it doesn't matter, because it's more about...
I'm too focused on the fish. That's
yeah,
the
yeah.
problem.
So you don't get it.
I don't get it.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
yeah. So one of these days I'm gonna take you out there, and you're gonna look at me. You're gonna go, dude.
I'm like the young Padawan, and you're the
I don't know
Jedi
about
Master.
that, but yeah. So but no, because you have the patience to cast 1,000 times for muskie. I don't have the patience to do that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I don't have the patience to do that. So
Yeah.
that was it. That was the coolest like moment. I had a really good time with my buddy Jeff too. I did that video. There's a video on my YouTube channel called Fishing with a Friend.
Can I tell him about it real quick?
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Guys, it is awesome. Okay, he's gonna say it's just okay.
No,
it's
it's cool.
Mediocre. I'm telling you.
I'll show you a clip. We'll pull up a clip.
So awesome.
We'll pull up a clip. We're gonna pull up the one where my buddy Jeff catch. Oh no, I have a clip that didn't make it into that video.
It makes me think of the what's that film tour? What's it called? Fly fishing film tour. That's what it makes me think of when I see this.
Funny.
It's
It's a cool
super
video.
awesome.
I
Check
did a
it out.
monologue over it, and it was kind of cool. So I told the story. This is a clip that didn't make it into that video. This is my friend Jeff, and if you think I get excited about things, my buddy Jeff is on another level. I call him Mr. Miyagi because he's taught me a lot about fly fishing. But he calls this fish, but he gets it wrong, and we do that all the time, right?
Yeah.
You did that thing.
Yeah.
Well, if you watch Benjamin's video, he'll tell you about calling. Oh, it's a muskie. It's a muskie. It's a pike.
was a
And then the
pike.
second one. Oh, it's a muskie. This time I promise you, it's a muskie. It's a pike.
It was a pike.
Jeff did that on this video. This is an awesome video.
Oh, I've seen this.
Oh, it's a huge brook trout.
Is it really?
It's a freaking giant brook
This
trout.
is going to be a trophy brook trout, then, I'm telling you. If it is. Because if that's a brook trout, bro, you're crazy. If that's a brook trout,
It's a giant brook trout.
this is like going to be the biggest brook of your life.
This is a giant brook trout. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. It's a freaking giant brook trout. It's a giant brook trout.
I don't know when he says
This
it.
thing is a giant brook trout.
He just keeps saying it over and over.
Oh, it's a brown.
I was gonna say, man. When you said brookie, I was like,
I thought it might have been.
it might have been. I love Jeff. He's my best friend. Like, I just fishing partner. Like, the dude is like
Spots on that.
That's
thing.
a
beautiful. Yeah, it's a beautiful fish. And if that would have been a brook trout, that would have been a huge brook
I've
trout.
been a Tanko brook trout.
But yeah, so like that one. So the time I had with Jeff this year was really good.
It's brook trout.
Yeah.
It's a brook trout. Oh, it's brown.
Oh, it's brown. I thought it might be a brook trout. It's so funny, dude. Credit to Jeff. He's the guy that got me into mousing.
There you go.
So that just you can guess a couple fish wrong. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're still cool.
So let's switch gears. So we're in our second year of guiding here. There were some struggles in our first year, and I'm talking kind of in the because we talk about these things. What was something this year that just went right for you? Not so much a challenge, but what was something that just kind of came together? What meshed? What can you think of? What was something that just like clicked this year?
There were a lot of things that happened that should have really ruined this year's fishing experience. COVID, high water. We had record water this year.
It's crazy.
I mean, seriously, like in between July and August, we had over 20 inches of rain. Rivers were blown out, completely blown out. And it was ridiculous. So I think there were three ways that everything went right this year. One of them was I did so many trips last year that by the time I got done with the season, I was wrecked. I was just like, I felt like I was slacking at home in my personal life because I was just on the grind so much trying to get things dialed in. And I left the guide season last year going, if I can't find another person to help me do this as a shop owner and hiring, because when I'm out on the river, I can't run the shop.
Yeah.
You see the expansion now in the shop here. Like we got a lot more products. We're getting into camping and outfitting and all these different things. But the reality is that like I can't do it all. So the first thing that happened that went right is my buddy Dylan, who's kind of behind the scenes right now, but from Stream Stalker Flies, got involved and started guiding some trips for me. And that was incredible. That was really, really cool because now I was able to just kind of spread it out a little bit. And even on trips where, like, there were some trips that we did where we only had 2 people, but, like, I brought them along and even paid them for the day because it was just better.
Yeah.
One thing that went right off the bat, I'm going to give huge props to my buddy Dylan from Stream Soccer Flies and from North Forest Trading Company. Dude makes knives and like all kinds of cool stuff. So
cool flies too.
Having that. Flies. Well, the knives are for when the flies don't work. I'm just kidding. So yeah, that was one. The one thing that went right was I got another guy that's guiding in the shop. He's trustworthy, really cool guy, knowledgeable, puts people on fish. It's awesome. I've had clients say, I'm booking again next year. I want to go with Dylan. I'm like, right on.
That sounds
super
awesome.
Cool. Number one thing that went right, Dylan. Number two thing that went right, the fishing was spectacular. I'm talking, even with high water, I have no idea what happened, but we hit it right all year long. I don't have numbers, but as far as trophy fish go and the numbers went, it was absolutely insane. Our beginning of the year, opening morning, another video, a day for the books, the 2020 trout opener. Corey and I went out and crushed it. I mean, it was just like fish, 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 fish. And funny story about that, you know, I have the local photographer for our newspaper wanted to come and get photos of us fly fishing. And we went to a spot, caught 1 or 2 fish. We came back into town. It was cold. He's like, hey, can I go out with you? I was like, yeah, I don't care. And so we didn't think we were going to really catch anything in the spot, but it was pretty. So we went back there, and all of a sudden I looked at Corey. I'm like, all right, man, go catch a fish. And he looks at me like, oh, great, pressure's on, right? Goes out in one cast, slams like an 18-inch brown.
Yeah. And
then comes back up, and the photographer's like, oh my gosh, click, 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 click. And then he goes, all right, your turn, buddy. And I'm like, oh, crap. So I go out.
Pressure's on.
So I go out. First cast. Boom. Smash a big brown. Come back. Oh my gosh, click, 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 click. Dude, we alternated like that for a couple hours, catching fish nonstop. And it was on fire. Well, then I started to think, oh, crap. Now I just brought the local newspaper to this fishing hole. Not good. So he's taking pictures, click, 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 and I go, Kevin. He like looks at me, and he like click, 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 click. I'm like, Kevin. And he goes, click, oh my gosh, he's fishing. I went, Kevin. And he like looked up at me, and I went, look, dude, I'm gonna tell you something right now. If we go back, if I ever come to this spot again, and I see another car parked in that spot, and I meet that person, and they even know who you are, I'm gonna make a fish crib out of your rib cage. I said it with a straight face. He was like, I got a call from the newspaper editor. She's like, where'd you catch those fish? I said, I'm not telling you where I caught those fish. And she goes, oh, I just had to check. She goes, Kevin wouldn't say a word. It's like right on.
There we go.
That's awesome. So anyways, you know, with that whole situation, so the first thing I read, Dylan, the second thing I read, the fishing was spectacular. It was awesome. And we found a groove, man. Last year, the other thing that went right that was contrary to last year is last year I was really stressed out with the stress of guiding and the pressure of guiding people and getting them fish. And you know what? There was just a little bit of maybe it's just a little bit of confidence that I landed on this year. There's days when you struggle. There's days when the fish aren't as active. You still have like grief over it for the client, if you're your guest that's coming in, you want them to catch fish. But I'm confident knowing that I'm doing everything that I can do.
Yeah.
I'm doing everything that I can do. And there's 3 factors. There's me. Am I working as hard as I can work? Right?
Yeah.
There's the second factor. Is the client listening to me? Because sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
And they're like, you know, you're telling them what to do, and they think they're doing it, and they're not doing it. And you try to tell them, and you try to tell them, and you try to tell them.
Yeah.
They don't do it, and then there's eventually a point you get to where you're just kind of like, all right, I'm going to let you continue doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
The third thing is, are the fish cooperating?
Yeah.
And when all those things happen, when I'm working my tail off, when the client's doing a good job, what I told them to do, that doesn't even mean they have to be a good fisherman.
Yeah.
But we know the water that we fish, and so, and then 3, you know, saying, you know, are the fish actually cooperating? And for the most part this year they did. I had some slow trips. I had a couple days that were just insanely slow. And some that I wish that I had do-overs for. You know, some that I wish I'd just be like, if I could go back and do that trip over again, maybe I would have gone to a different spot, or maybe I would have this, or maybe I would have that. But the reality is I did the best with what I what I could, and we had a killer year. It was absolutely crazy. I'm looking forward to next year. But it was really, really cool. Despite everything else that happened around the planet, as far as if I don't think of like COVID necessarily, and I think of just the fishing this year, I've never had a year like this in my life.
Nice.
It was absolutely insane.
Well, that's good for them to hear. Book with this guy.
It was absolutely crazy.
I want to jump in for a second. So you were just talking about, you know, how you can do everything in your power and getting the fish to cooperate, but then that third factor is is the skill of the clients, and that's one of those things that I actually had a moment this year, and I'm going to jump in. I'm going to steal the spotlight for a second.
Do it up.
I had a moment where I actually lost my cool this year, and it was a really slow day, and we were losing fish after fish after fish, and the fish were biting. The fish were doing what they wanted to do. We had the right presentations. We had everything, but the guy was slow on. He was just not setting the hook.
Were you guiding Corey?
No.
We call Corey Sloth because he takes forever on the hook set.
Oh my gosh! So
he outfishes me, by the way.
Lost so many fish, and finally gets blown up on top water. He sets the hook and he hooks the fish, and his line goes slack. And so okay, I'm gonna ask a question. So right here, fish bites. This is a guide question. Fish bites. Gets a good hook set, but the line goes slack. What do you tell the client to do?
Reel in that line as fast as you can.
Why? Why?
Because it's running at you.
Exactly. Oh my God. So the guy looks at me and he says,
"Oh,
it's
it got
gone.
off."
It got off. And I said, No, it's coming towards us.
Yeah.
He keeps reeling, and I raised my voice. I was like, no, reel.
Yeah.
Reels up, and he pulls in like a 19-inch smallmouth.
Yeah.
But,
and then you're asking
it was
yourself
all the way at the boat.
Yeah.
I mean, it was slack line.
And then you're asking yourself, like, how many more of those fish would have hit the net? No, and some of that stuff, you just, like, for me, I'm at the point now where, like, if I have a day where somebody's doing that kind of stuff, there's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah.
There isn't. It's just kind of like, all right. And I will try to find the most polite, tactful way, because everybody learns different.
Well, yeah.
That's the thing. Everybody learns different. And so, you're a teacher. You know that. I'm a pastor. Like, I mean, gosh, like, you can say something. We're both parents. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You can say it this way to your child, and they're not going to listen to you. And you say it this way, and then they are. And so, however, I had a lady, too, like 2 years ago. I remember, great person, also a friend. And we were indicator nymphing for kings. And her indicator would just go down. She'd set the hook, but when you're indicator fishing, your line's coming down to your indicator, and then you have a 90 degree or a 45 degree bend, and in that bend, you have sometimes 3 to 5 feet of line down below. And so when you set the hook, you have to set the hook enough to take that angle out of the bend with the water resistance, and set the hook and move that fly to bury that hook into a fish that has a really tough mouth with a really small hook.
Yeah.
And so she would set the hook. I showed her how to strip set. She would set the hook like that. And a strip set is different when you're nymphing versus when you're stripping streamers. But she sets, and she hooked the fish. But because she didn't feel it right away, because she wasn't keeping tension and pulling that line down, she wouldn't feel any tension, and she'd go, "Oh, I lost the fish." And then and her boyfriend was with, and the indicator would go across the river, and he'd be swearing. He's like, "What the?" Sir, keep tension. And luckily I had somebody there that knew what was going on. He was yelling at her. I didn't say anything, but she had a number of chances at fish. Finally, she hooked one. She kept it on, but then when it ran, she stopped the reel and broke it off. So I was like, but there's a lot of things. I mean, that was her first time ever fly fishing. Yeah. So I mean, God, what are you gonna do? Yeah. Anyways,
So this is actually a good question. Going in, we're talking about that one chance, that one fish per day. I fish for muskie, and so for me, a one fish muskie, you have that one chance, and if it's screwed up, well then the whole day is shot. Is there a fish for you that it's like a one per day, you have one chance and you have to do it right?
Yes, there's a few of those. One are the big browns on dries.
Okay.
So like when we're fishing in Iron County here, we have a couple rivers that we can fish in our county that have very big browns, and they'll take dries, and it's usually like last week of May, first week of June, and there's a window. It'll even trickle into the second week of June sometimes. We don't get a huge hex hatch up here, so it's not like that. When you're hex fishing, sometimes that's a little bit more than a one fish game. However, you're fishing Hendricksons, you're fishing March Browns, you're fishing some of those dry flies that come off at dark in the beginning of June, the beginning of summer. Those are fish that, and the only reason why they're one fish, they're not always one fish days, but the reason why is because they pod up into a feeding lane.
Oh, yeah.
Once you catch one big one, the other ones kind of take off.
Yeah,
at least for a little bit. That's why we let them get into a feeding zone for a while. A lot of guys will just start casting at the first fish they see rise. That's a good way to spook the whole hole. You let them get comfortable. Once they get comfortable and it's dark, you can sit there and fish. But there are guys that, like, I tell them, I'm like, hey, we're going for one fish. If we get more than one fish, that's fine. But like, we're gonna sit here, we're gonna wait for these fish to move in. We're gonna go for one fish.
Right
so
on.
other than that, like when we get into like Lake Run Browns and like even coasters and stuff like that that are you know, like coming from Lake Superior, that stuff's cool. But the only time that those are like one fish days are when you're chasing them and you're thinking, okay, we might get one really big fish today. We're gonna have bycatches all day long.
Okay.
Rainbows, brookies, little browns, juveniles, all that. The Lake Run Browns, when it's in the beginning, when it starts heating up, and everybody calls it early. Oh, the Browns are in, and it's like, I'm like, no, there's a couple that are hanging out, but like they're not in. Everybody freaks out, so everybody goes fishing, and then it's like, so those are the days that you might get one big brown, but so I'd say dry flies, and then the beginning of like a lake run, the very beginning of a lake run.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. That's funny. I like that.
Oh, dude, it happens all the time. Like I ran into a guy. They're in, and I'm like,
They're in.
it's September. Like they don't even spawn until November.
I'm glad musky fishing isn't like that. It's like the fish are in. Go for them. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, luckily we go to places where there's not a lot of people, so we don't have to really deal with that too much.
Yeah.
I can honestly say there's been a lot of hype with people that get upset about the YouTube channel because you're over publicizing stuff.
Do you want to talk about that for the camera?
All I have to say is the more I learn about the situation, I'm a conservationist, you know. And somebody's like, "You got a YouTube channel? You're not a conservationist." Yeah, okay. So I'm at the meetings. I'm the TU board. I go, you know, to the NRC meetings. Like I'm fighting for all these different regs.
So tell them they might not know what TU or NRC
Trout
means.
Unlimited, Natural Resource Commission. You know, the people that are like advocating for these legislations to be made in ways that are going to favor the natural resources rather than depletion and harvesting and all that kind of stuff. So,
Yeah, I'm gonna jump in here. A lot of people think the DNR does everything, and it's very common to hear people say, "Oh, the DNR," and they're doing this.
they suggest things sometimes.
They suggest
you know,
things, but they're
not
really
the ones that do it. That pass the laws.
Yeah, they don't have the power, and they don't make those decisions. So keep going, my man.
So all I'm saying is the more I'm involved in conservation, the more that I'm involved in business, the more that I'm involved in some of these things. You know, the worst people are that I have to deal with. It's not the people that come up here because they heard there was good fishing. It's just the haters.
Yeah.
It's the people that just want to be mad about something and get bent out of shape. And the people that I meet on the river that came up because they saw a YouTube video that are going to come all the way up here to the UP. And I've had it. I've gotten out of the vehicle. Dylan, you and I've gotten out of the vehicle at a spot and said, you know, oh, we see somebody getting there like, hey, you're Seth from Dark Waters, right? That happens a couple times a year. I see that happen. And you know what? Those guys are there, and they're going. I'm like, hey, you guys going to keep anything? They're like, nope. They're like, we're just, you know. And I see them at the end of the day. How'd you guys do it? We didn't really catch a whole lot. We're going to book a trip, you know, or something like that. But they're not. They're people that are also conservationists. Mm-hmm. They're people that are also interested in the fishery. They're people that don't want to deplete it. And so, you know, people are, oh, you're going to invite all these people up here to fish it out and all these things. It's like, yeah, I don't deny that that's a possibility, but the way that we're going about it and promoting conservation and the way that we're telling people like, look, we want to share what we have with you. We still go about it properly. We're not naming places. We're not naming, you know, we're not trying and putting landmarks and stuff like that. But the reality is I talk to more people that when we see them on the river, we give them flies. We tell them how to fish it. We tell them where to go. We tell them how we're doing. You know, we're not lying to everybody out there.
Yeah.
And we have really good relationships. And you know what? I'm like meeting locals that are. Dude, we ran into a guy this year that we got there, and he knew we were guiding, or we weren't even guiding that day, but he knew that Dylan and I were guides, and he had his grandson with him, 12-year-old grandson. His name was Connor. And I'll never forget this, man. The guy goes to his grandson. Oh, Connor, get out. These guys want to fish this hole. Like, and I'm like, no, dude. Like, you're with your grandson. Like, there's miles of river. Like, we're the only ones down here. Like, we don't need to take this. Oh, no. And I said, Connor, how many fish have you caught today? I saw him catch a brook trout. He goes, oh, that brook trout. I said, oh, that's cool, man. Did you catch any big ones? No. I said, you know there's big fish in there, right? He's like, well, that's what Grandpa tells me.
That's what Grandpa tells me.
So I said, you want to catch one? And he goes, yeah. And he was throwing spawn. And Dylan's my witness. He's right here. And then I give him my rod. I said, put that one down. And in 15 minutes, the guy caught like 10 fish. Kid, like 12-year-old kid.
I need confirmation. Did this happen?
Yep,
100%.
Yep.
It says.
And not only that, but like, how many of those big browns did he lose?
He lost, I think it was 2.
Yeah, it was 2. He lost 2 real, like that brown that you caught.
Yeah.
Yeah, he caught 2 of those, and well, he had him up, and broke them off. On my rod, I was rigged with really light tippet. I was using 5X for like 10-pound, 12-pound fish. Dylan had already told me you should go heavier. I should have listened to Dylan. So, anyways.
So I kind of want to go off of what you were just saying. You were just talking about, you know, some of the trolls or the haters and whatnot. And I think it's super important that we say to the camera right now that, at least for like myself, like we understand, you know, that sometimes people have legitimate concerns.
Yeah.
But the best way to go about dealing with those issues is to, you know, send us an email or stop in and talk with us.
No, you know the best way you can do it is leave notes on our vehicle and like sabotage our social media stuff and make smart comments on our Instagram pages. And yeah, that's the best way to do it. If you want to like communicate
Don't listen to this guy. Don't listen to this guy.
And you want to like, you know, boost the morale and people skills in the UP, just start doing that stuff. Yeah. No, honestly, like I vented a little bit there, but it's only because it happens. But I don't even want to talk about this anymore, to be honest. But I'm just gonna wrap it up with this. You know what? Like open dialogue.
Yeah.
Like, let's just take all that energy, all that everybody's blood pressure's up over the subjects. Like, let's just take that and put that into conservation.
Have a ginger beer.
Yeah. Have a ginger beer.
Yeah. NA.
Bundaberg. You know? Just chill out.
Yeah, right on.
I don't even want to talk about it anymore. Go ahead, keep going. Check this out.
Let's see
so I'm
this.
shifting gears here.
Yeah.
I don't even need it anymore. Okay, so this guy, great friend of mine, Steve. This is one of my favorite days on the water as well. I was processing some grief, another clip from a video, contemplating life on the river. We had a death in our family, and it was just really hard to deal with. And my buddy Steve came up, and we fished for a little bit. We started. This is no lie. It was in June. We started hooking into steelhead.
Oh wow!
It's like, what is going on right now? This is ridiculous. And he hooks this fish, and it breaks him off.
Ooh.
But I catch it in the net as it was swimming away after it broke him off.
Let's see this. Let's see this.
Funny. This is the second steelhead he's ever caught.
That's a nice fish. Oh my god.
The first one was about 15 minutes earlier. He's like, what do I do?
Watch Seth in the background, guys. He's gonna go running.
I have my coffee in my hand.
I guess you gotta go with him.
Go. I apologize for the bad camera skills. I was netting here, not so he gets out of frame, but all you need is the audio.
Get him? Oh, jeez. Oh! Oh! What a save! Oh! I didn't even spill my coffee.
I had my coffee in my hand.
Oh my gosh!
He snapped you off and I caught him. It was awesome, man. It was so cool. It ended up being a really cool fish. Check this out. It'll give you a little. So it had some. I think those are lamprey marks that are on it, actually.
Oh wow.
This is a Lake Superior steelhead, so it's not like gonna break any records. This is just great. Not gonna break any records. It'll break your line. I think those are lamprey marks.
That's his battle wounded side.
I think you're right.
Look at that.
That's awesome.
Oh, there he goes.
Yeah, full of energy. Off she goes.
Shoot. What do you mean shoot?
What do you mean?
What do you mean shoot, bro? We got some bangerang shots of that fish.
Bangerang, Peter. Yeah, dude, that was super cool. That was a really, really fun day, and Steve did everything right there, man. It was just a super, super cool.
Best part is Seth in the background, running for the net, coffee in hand. Priorities right there.
Yeah,
Gotta keep the coffee.
Yeah. So it was really cool. I think that, you know, things kind of fell into place this year guiding. I think there's a lot of things you got to be concerned about when you're guiding.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that, you know, one, you're, you know, just being above board, your insurance, your regs, your permits, your all that stuff.
What?
Your
There's stuff we need?
yeah.
Wait,
So
there's stuff we need to do?
But then, you know, just keeping trips, you know, straight. I mean, there were some days where we were guiding. You know, one thing that we do is we try to commit to not guiding on the same stretch of river more than once a week.
Yeah.
And now when lake run fish are in and we're doing things like that, that's a whole different animal because those fish are not resident fish. They're moving in and they're moving out.
Yeah.
So you can fish a hole on Tuesday and go back and fish it on Wednesday, and you're fishing to a completely different, in a lot of cases, you're fishing to a completely different fish at that point because they're moving around.
Yeah.
And so we're not targeting spawning fish. Every single one of the fish, I don't think we caught, of the 25 lake run fish that we caught when we were recreationally fishing, the week that it was really good. I mean, a couple weeks there that was good. I don't think that we caught any that were squirting, males or females. There were like maybe one female that we caught that dropped a couple eggs, but none of the other fish that we caught, not even fish that were foul hooked, like, because that happens from time to time.
Yeah.
But like 99% of the fish were hooked in the mouth, and they were either pre or post spawn. And those are the fisheries that we have. Like, we know what we're doing enough to be able to say, we're not going to fish those fish. We're going to fish for here. See those fish up there? Those are on a bed. We're not even going to cast for those fish. We're not even going to cross the river next to them.
So it's important for you guys out there is that this is super important stuff. He's not targeting those easy pickings, those fish on those reds.
Well, they're easy pickings, but we catch them all the time. No,
well, yeah,
but not the ones on the reds. You're right.
But it's important because
sorry, I was sounding a little cocky there. It was just because we had a really good year. Okay. Yeah, it's hard to not get amped up when you had a really good year. Caught some really big brook trout. I think the biggest brook trout that hit the net this year was like 17 inches. That was pretty sweet. We had 2 of those.
It's a huge fish.
In fact, we had one that we caught twice in one day, which was kind of fun. Same fish. One like first cast, and then the same hole on the way out last cast. It was the same fish. It was unreal. We lined it up and it was great. And then so it was a pretty incredible year. But I think that the thing that I like about guiding is that if you can practice this without being a guide, you'll make yourself a better fisherman, and that is watch people fish.
Oh, yeah.
Just watch people fish.
Yeah, you learn from other people. Everyone does something
better than you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everybody does.
Absolutely.
Doesn't matter if they're Did a lot of cool family trips this year. Our guiding for fall brookies video, we did a father and a son and a nephew, and they caught like 50 or 60 brook trout in a day. Dylan and I, the last day of trout season, I still haven't edited this video down yet because it was all GoPro footage and I'm used to these other cameras.
Was that the 100?
Yeah, we did 100. We had 101 brook trout in one day.
101 brookies.
It was about 2 or 3 miles of river, and we caught 101 brook trout on the last day of trout season.
I wanna do that next year. Yeah. I want in.
I invited you.
You did.
Yeah, I did. Is that camera still good?
I think I had COVID.
It says it's full. What about this one? Okay.
All right, so we are getting down near the end, and we are going to be kind of asking some final questions here. So, Seth, tell us, what are some final thoughts you have for the audience and I?
Well, first thing I'd like to apologize for is that my uploads were not even close to what they were last year. I did maybe one video a month this year. I think maybe this whole year I probably uploaded like 12 to 14 videos aside from the quarantine sessions, ones that I was doing in the spring. So I have a lot of content. I just haven't edited them down. And the honest deal as well is that I'm having to raise the bar with my video because I'm trying to get more into some cinematic stuff. And I'd love you guys, if you're still watching this video, this is a long video.
Yeah.
If you...
Oh, sounds like a fish on.
Yeah, fish on. So if you're still watching this video and you follow the channel, let me know what kind of stuff you want to see. I'm really into the cinematic stuff right now, the drone shots and the really nice, clear shots and slow motion shots and it just making kind of like little short films. I like that. I have a lot of vlog ideas. I'm still going to do that. Put some in the comments. Let me know what you think. So plans for the future though. I've got a lot more videos to edit down over this winter, but to be honest, my focus has really shifted to the shop here. And as you can see, we've done a lot of remodeling. We've opened it up and we're starting to get into the camping, adventure, wilderness trips, stuff like that. Like we're really into that right now. It's because fly fishing has opened the door for like what the UP really has to offer for us, and we were hiking in these walking away trips that we're doing. They're just awesome. They do require a certain level of physical fitness and endurance and stuff like that, but we're all about it. So we got like jet boil inventory, and we're looking at backpack. You got internal frame backpacks, and we're looking for good tent, like backpacking tent suppliers and camp meals and just all that stuff. Just the lightweight, ultralight deals to convenience. So that's something that we're really doing with the shop. Having another guide now, Dylan's going to help me out. He's probably going to pop in on some of these videos here sooner or later. But, you know, the apparel, we're going to be redoing our website.
Yep.
The whole thing's just completely getting overhauled because it's going really well. And so I appreciate your support. I appreciate your support. You know, it's been fantastic. So if you guys have suggestions, if you have requests on types of videos that you want to see, I'd love to be able to answer those questions. So leave them in the comments.
Jumping in on what he's saying here, guys, this shop has a bit for everybody. Like, he's not joking. It's not just fly fishing stuff in here. Come on in and see. Do you have like a grand reopening or what are we looking
Yeah,
at?
sometime in the spring I'm going to do a grand reopening. We're going to be giving away some fly rods for anybody that comes in and spends more than $50 in a transaction, or your name will get entered into a thing. And then, you know, we're going to give some fly rods away. We're going to give probably some backpacks away.
Okay.
We're going to maybe even get rid of a jet boil or something like that, and like,
Hot diggity
you
dog.
know, do some cool stuff.
I'm gonna
there.
be in
But,
here then.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet, and we're really, you know, realizing. I mean, I think I'm going to start getting into ice fishing stuff next year, only because we've been crushing it ice fishing this year, and I have all these guys that are like wanting me to guide them and to be able to get out on the hard water and stuff. And I'm actually finding it kind of fun this year. I've hated ice fishing. Anybody that knows me knows that I say it all the time. I hate ice fishing. I just have to be outside. This year, I don't really hate ice fishing. I'm having a lot of fun. It's been pretty cool.
It can be beautiful.
It's been a lot
out
of fun. It's an adventure. It's an adventure. So, yeah. We're gonna wrap, guys. I really appreciate you watching this video. Thank you. If you haven't subscribed and you watched this whole video, you might as well hit the subscribe button.
Hit the bell. Hit the bell.
Seriously. But thanks for watching, and you're gonna catch me again here in another video soon because I've got a lot of content to edit down for you. So thanks for watching. Appreciate it.
Peace.